I'm at a point in my life, like, we all grew up in the streets, and we try to be better, but they labeled us felons, sent us back to jail. I had to fight against that the whole time to gain my respect and be who I am today, and I'm proud of that.
Meek Mill is in the middle of what might be the most bizarre and damaging scandal of his entire career. There's no sugarcoating this, just a hard crash into the chaos and controversy that has turned the internet upside down. Because out of nowhere, rumors started circulating that Meek had been secretly involved in a romantic relationship with Diddy. The claims aren't just that Meek was involved. The claims say Meek was being paid over $100,000 per session. Yes, per session, for private encounters. These are the kind of rumors that don't just trend for a day and vanish. These are the kind that stick, especially when the internet starts pulling receipts and playing detective. At first, it felt too outrageous to be taken seriously, but then came the audio leak and everything changed. The internet took that audio and ran with it instantly. Twitter threads sprang up within minutes, dissecting every breath and syllable. TikTok creators were reenacting the moment with captions like, "Meek when he sees Diddy pull up," and the reactions? Hysterical. But behind the jokes was a creeping suspicion. What if this isn't just trolling? The speed and intensity of the public reaction said it all. The culture is at a boiling point when it comes to celebrity secrets. And this wasn't just a scandal. It was a potential unraveling of reputations, credibility, and careers. Meek, to his credit, didn't hide. Within hours, he was online, issuing firm denials. He said the clip was fake, generated with artificial intelligence, and part of a targeted smear campaign against him, so that he can join Diddy's downfall. He insisted it was all lies. And then came Jaguar Wright, a name that immediately sends eyebrows upward in the industry. Jaguar stepped into the fire with gasoline. She didn't just co-sign the rumor, she added a shocking layer to it. According to her, Nicki Minaj, Meek Mill's ex-girlfriend, was the one who leaked the audio. Her claim, that the clip was secretly recorded at a private event in Calabasas, then deliberately distributed to smear Meek. If Jaguar's right, this isn't just a leaked audio scandal, it's personal revenge. And let's not forget the history here. Meek and Nicki weren't just a fling. Their relationship was high profile, messy, and ended with bad blood. Public arguments, cryptic subtweets, and lingering bitterness have defined their post-breakup narrative. So when Jaguar threw Nicki's name into the scandal, it didn't feel random. It felt calculated. Fans started asking, is this the final chapter of their years-long beef? Did Nicki hold on to this clip for the perfect moment to strike? Or is Jaguar just doing what she's known for, blowing things up without proof? And while that fire raged, social media detectives went digging. People began resurfacing old footage of Diddy and Meek, harmless interviews, backstage moments, IG lives. But in this new light, everything looked different. One clip in particular caught everyone's attention, Diddy referring to Meek as daddy.
What's up, King Son? Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, daddy. You putting in that work. Proud of you. I love you. Yeah.
Maybe it was a joke between friends, but the chemistry was there. Then came the real bombshell. Diddy's arrest in September. Allegations of abuse, manipulation, and worse were already painting a grim picture. And then, out of nowhere, Meek's name started trending again. Despite having no formal involvement in Diddy's legal trouble, the internet dragged him into the drama. Speculation ran rampant. Was Meek part of this inner circle? Did he know more than he let on? And worse, was he involved in the darker side of Diddy's empire? Once again, Meek responded. But this time, he upped the ante. Not only did he double down on his denial, but he offered a $100,000 reward to anyone who could prove the leaked audio was fake and help identify the person who leaked it. It was a bold move, a calculated effort to turn the tables, shift the narrative, and prove he had nothing to hide. But for many people watching, the question wasn't whether the audio was real. It was why this was happening at all. Why was Meek caught in Diddy's implosion? Why now? And who had something to gain from dragging Meek's name into the mud? The lawsuit added fuel to the fire. One of the legal filings against Diddy made an offhand reference to a Philadelphia rapper who had dated Nicki Minaj. It didn't take much imagination to connect the dots. No name was mentioned, but the description was almost comically specific. It was like saying, we're not naming him, but here's his entire Wikipedia bio. People didn't hesitate. They pinned it on Meek. And now, Meek wasn't just fighting a viral audio clip. At this point, things began to spiral. People started digging even further into Meek's past. That's when the infamous 2014 Las Vegas party resurfaced, a birthday bash thrown for Meek by Diddy. What should have been a fun night quickly turned into legend for all the wrong reasons. Reports began circulating that the event ended in absolute chaos. Drugs, blood, and even used condoms were allegedly found at the scene. A pattern, a lifestyle. a glimpse behind the curtain at what really goes on when the cameras are off and the doors are closed. And now, Meek is trying to rewrite the narrative. Sources say he's claiming Diddy coerced him, that he didn't want to be involved in any of it, that Diddy used his influence, his industry power, to manipulate him into situations he couldn't escape, that if he wanted airplay, label support, tour opportunities, he had to play the game. This is no longer about two men allegedly having a secret relationship. It's about industry exploitation, power imbalance, and survival. It's about how far artists are willing or forced to go just to make it. But even now, with all this swirling around, there's no definitive proof of anything. The audio remains unverified. The lawsuit is vague. The rumors are persistent but unsupported. Still, the damage is done. Meek's reputation has taken a hit, whether he deserves it or not. Some fans are rallying behind him, saying he's being set up, scapegoated in Diddy's downfall. Others think he's just doing damage control, trying to distance himself before things get worse. And that's the real tragedy here. When the line between truth and rumor is this blurry, nobody wins. And yet, in the middle of all this chaos, Meek Mill is trying to reestablish control over the narrative, over public opinion, and maybe even over his own identity. Let's not forget, Meek's entire brand has always revolved around authenticity. He's the street rapper who beat the system, the kid from Philly who got locked up, came back harder, and fought for criminal justice reform. He built his fan base on struggle, on grit, on survival. So now, seeing him caught up in something that looks more like a Hollywood scandal than a street saga feels jarringly off-brand. It's not just a PR nightmare, it's an identity crisis. And in the digital age, when identity is currency, that might be the most dangerous fallout of all. But that's what makes this situation so sticky. If Meek is telling the truth, if he really was coerced, manipulated, or targeted, then this isn't just a scandal. It's a warning, a glimpse into how the industry works behind closed doors, a peek at the darker transactions that keep the machine moving. But if he's not telling the truth, if he's only playing the victim now that things have gone south, then he's part of the very machine he once claimed to fight against. That's the line people are trying to draw: victim or opportunist, puppet or player. It's a line Meek can't seem to erase, no matter how loud he yells. And speaking of yelling, his Twitter feed has been a roller coaster lately. You can feel the frustration bleeding through every post. He's lashing out at blogs, at fans, at the media, at people who dare question his version of events. He's calling out haters, accusing people of chasing clout, even threatening legal action against those who spread the leaked clip. It's understandable, but it's also not helping, because every tweet, every outburst just keeps the story alive. Every time he tries to shut it down, the internet spins it back up, twice as loud. At the same time, people are starting to connect this situation to long-standing whispers about Diddy and the way he's allegedly run his empire. Stories have floated around for years about parties, contracts, favors, and behind-the-scenes pressure. Until recently, those stories lived in the shadows of the industry. But now, with lawsuits stacking up and Meek's name suddenly in the mix, it's like a spotlight is finally hitting those dark corners. Suddenly, people are rewatching old interviews, catching strange moments they missed the first time. They're treating Meek's situation as a case study in how power really works in entertainment. Meanwhile, Nicki Minaj has remained mostly silent. Her fans have taken that silence and weaponized it. Some are saying her silence is classy, that she doesn't need to respond to mess. Others think it's strategic, letting Meek spiral while she watches from the sidelines. There's also a theory that her team is gathering receipts, waiting to respond legally rather than online. But whatever the reason, her silence is deafening. And for a woman known to clap back at any slight, this silence feels calculated. It adds to the mystery. And we can't talk about Meek without revisiting his rocky post-Nicki era. After their breakup, he took a lot of hits, both public and private. There were the Drake beefs, the probation violations, the legal battles. For a while, it felt like he couldn't catch a break. But then came the Championships album, the criminal justice advocacy, the Roc Nation deal. It felt like a redemption arc, like Meek had finally matured into something greater than just a rapper. He was a leader, a voice, an activist. That's what makes this scandal sting so much. It's not just a threat to his image, it's a threat to the progress he worked so hard to build. But now, that progress is crumbling. Every mention of his name is tied to the scandal. Every interview, every podcast, every panel discussion, it always circles back to Diddy. And let's be real, in the public's eyes, association equals involvement. And the more Meek tries to separate himself, the more people dig. Every friendship, party, and photo from the past is now evidence. And here's where things get even more complicated. Because the question isn't just, did Meek do it? It's also, who benefits from making people think he did? If this really is a smear campaign, who's behind it? Who has enough motive, access, and resources to fake an audio clip, leak it to the right people, and fan the flames? Some say it's Nicki, others say it's one of Diddy's enemies, trying to collapse his empire piece by piece. Still others think it's industry politics at work, a quiet war being fought behind the scenes. with artists like Meek caught in the crossfire. Whatever the case, it's clear this isn't just about sex or money. It's about power. And maybe that's the most uncomfortable truth in all of this, that we're not really talking about a relationship. We're talking about influence, about leverage, about the price of entry into the music elite. And when you frame it that way, Meek's alleged involvement doesn't seem as far-fetched as people first thought. Because in this game, success often comes with strings attached, and sometimes those strings are more than just business. And look, public opinion is a wild beast. For every person calling Meek a victim, there's another calling him a liar. For every TikTok defending him, there's one dragging him. The line is split right down the middle. Some fans are saying he's being targeted because he's speaking truth to power. Others are saying he's only crying now because he got caught. And that split, that's what's going to make this story stick. Because unlike a simple cheating scandal or a messy tweet, this hits something deeper. It forces fans to ask, what do we really know about our favorite artists? And more importantly, what are we willing to believe? And through it all, Meek is still trying to work. Still dropping snippets, showing up at events, trying to promote music. But the vibe has shifted. He's no longer the comeback kid. Now, he's the guy at the center of the Diddy drama. And that's a hard label to shake, especially when the internet refuses to let it go. His future in music doesn't just depend on clearing his name, it depends on reclaiming his story. And in 2025, that's harder than ever. Because the internet doesn't just consume scandals, it archives them forever. The truth is, we may never know what really happened. Maybe the audio was fake, maybe it wasn't. Maybe Meek was a pawn, maybe he wasn't. What we do know is that this scandal has exposed more than just one artist's secrets. It's peeled back the curtain on an industry that thrives on silence, secrecy, and favors. It's forced us to question what's real and what's PR. And it's shown us that no matter how far you climb, one rumor, real or not, can bring the whole thing crashing down. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown interesting, go ahead and like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.